Which is the correct symbol for the stalling speed or the minimum steady flight speed at which the airplane is controllable? VS.
Yeah. What were the other options?
That's the correct answer.
Okay. Are you just doing it to where you see the correct answer only?
Yeah, it's on. I was on this one first.
I mean, gotcha.
The stalling speed or the minimum steady flight speed at which the airplane is controllable. So what is VS then? VSO is...
Yeah, it's just stalling speed, V stalling speed. So it's basically going to be VS1.
This is the same as VS1?
Pretty much. Like, that's just when you're going to stall in general. So unless you deploy flaps.
Got it.
Or extend flaps,
14 CFR Part 1 defines VF as design flap speed.
I think you need to, do you have it to where you can see all the other answers?
Nope.
Because you need to be able to differentiate the right one from the wrong ones, right?
Well,
I mean,
right now,
how you want to study.
Shepherd Air suggests I just go through... They suggest that I just go and look at all the correct answers only first.
Okay.
Then the next step is to do that, like you said.
I mean, the weird thing is private written seems to be like a rote knowledge thing. You know what I mean by that? Rote,
you're just like memorization.
Not that you even know it. You just memorize
Correct.
it well. That kind of gets you through the private written, but eventually, and a lot of written questions are like, they're so petty, you got to just memorize them. But there are a lot of things you need to be like, yeah, I know that because that's right.
Correct.
And I can prove why that's right. These other ones are wrong.
14 CFR Part 1 defines VF as design flap speed. So VF is VF. Yeah. So that's the speed at which you can put the flaps down.
Yeah.
So it's the top of the white arc.
Yeah.
Is what this is.
Yeah.
Okay. CFR Part 1. What is CFR?
Code of Federal Regulations.
Code of Federal Regulations Part 1 defines VLE as landing gear extended. Yeah.
I was just telling you the answer.
Yeah. I already knew VLE.
Yeah.
I already knew that. V&E, never exceed speed. Okay, I know that.
Right radial line.
VY is best rate. Okay, I know that.
What's the variable for there? VX, VY. What's the variable for each one?
The variable?
What's it based on?
It's based on best, so there's best rate, which is VY, and then there's best angle of climb.
Yeah, so for VY, for a given what, VY will get you the most elevation.
For a given amount of time.
Okay.
And VX is a given amount of distance. Yeah, I know that.
Okay.
Yeah. If an airplane category is still listed as utility, it would mean that this airplane could be operated in which of the following maneuvers? Yeah, you can pretty much do spins if it's utility.
When in CFI training, you have to do stalls, and you can't do stalls in an aircraft unless your weight is in the utility category. The plane has to have a utility category for one.
What the heck does that even mean, utility category? It's a weird name.
Yeah, it has to be like suited or tested to be able to do spins, but then when you go to your chapter 6 and the POH, the weight and balance section, you have to make sure the weight for your plane before you take off fits within the utility category. It's usually a lot less than the maximum takeoff weight.
Which is true with respect to operating limitations of a restricted category airplane. If it's restricted, no person may operate a restricted category airplane. Recurring passengers or property for compensation or hire.
Yeah, it's just a limitation one.
Primary category. No person may operate a primary category airplane carrying passengers or property for compensation or hire. Primary and restricted. Okay. The carriage of passengers for hire by a commercial pilot is not authorized in a limited category aircraft. Okay. No person may operate an aircraft that has an experimental airworthiness certificate for hire. Okay, that makes sense. The ratio between the total air load imposed on the wing and the gross weight of an aircraft in flight is known as load factor. Yeah, the air load imposed on the wing and the gross weight. Load factor directly affects stall speed. Okay.
As the load factor increases on the wing, does stall speed decrease or increase?
Decrease? Increase?
Mm-hmm.
Stall speed increases?
Yeah.
If there's more load factor?
The more you bank in general, are you going to meet your stall speed sooner or no?
The more I bank?
Yeah.
At the same airspeed?
Or same altitude. Yeah, or same airspeed. Like if you just start to bank and you're gonna meet your stall speed a lot sooner.
Yeah, quicker.
Because the vertical
the stall speed decreases.
No, stall speed increases. Like you're gonna meet it sooner. Yeah, like if you generally stall at 44 knots in VS1 or something.
Oh, you're right. Okay, the speed of okay.
You'll stall at maybe.
If stall speed increases, that means you'll stall faster. Yeah, you will stall faster.
Sooner. You'll stall sooner.
Okay, I guess I just got it messed up.
No, it's all doesn't matter.
Load factor is the lift generated by the wings of an aircraft at any given time, divided by the total weight. Yeah, so that's lift divided by total weight is load factor. Okay. For a given angle of bank in any airplane, the load factor imposed on a coordinated constant altitude turn For a given angle of bank in any airplane, the load factor imposed in a coordinated constant altitude turn is constant and the stall speed increases. Yeah. Like you said, stall speed increases.
Yeah.
Airplane wing loading during level coordinated turn smooth air depends upon the angle of bank.
Yeah.
If you bank more, it's more load factor. In a rapid recovery from a dive, the effects of load factor would cause the stall speed to increase. Yes, that makes sense. If an aircraft with a gross weight of 2,000 pounds was subjected to a 60-degree constant altitude bank, that would double the load. There would be 2 Gs.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so double 4,000.
Bank.
1.5?
Yeah, 4-1.
Yeah.
Technically.
While maintaining a constant angle of bank and altitude in a coordinated turn, an increase in airspeed will decrease the rate of turn, resulting in no change in load factor. Yeah, you would decrease your turn rate.
Yeah.
So you're making a constant.
Yeah, if you're turning and then you increase the speed, it's gonna go.
You can make a wider turn.
It's gonna increase.
So you could decrease.
Yeah,
you can decrease your rate of turn.
But load factor doesn't change.
Load factor is the same as G's, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Lift on a wing is most properly defined as the force acting perpendicular to the relative wind. Yeah. Wind is coming this way, lift is going this way.
Mm-hmm.
You are making a level turn at a constant bank angle. If you vary the rate of turn, the load factor will remain constant. You're making a level turn at a constant bank angle. If you vary the rate of turn, the load factor will remain constant. So
That's
hold on.
just saying
Rate
if
of
you're
turn.
increasing or decreasing your speed. It's just another way to put a
That's
previous
not.
question.
That has nothing to do with bank.
Yeah. So two
Oh,
questions.
constant bank angle.
Yeah. 2 questions ago, it asked how if you increase your speed, the rate of turn will decrease. So that's just asking. You're just in a constant
Okay,
bank.
so if you're in a constant bank, yeah. If you vary the rate of turn is just your speed then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it remains constant.
You need to slow an aircraft below maneuvering speed. The need to slow an aircraft below VA maneuvering speed is brought about by the following weather phenomenon. Turbulence, which causes an increase in stall speed. Yeah.
Yep, we talked about that earlier. Not that it needed to talk about it. We were just talking about other V speeds. VA is important for 2 things. Design maneuvering speed. It's a maximum
Speed, you can do a full deflection instantaneously.
Yeah, without
or go through strong turbulence.
Damage of a flight control. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to rip off your wing.
Yeah, or if
something
it's
like that.
crazy enough turbulence, you have to pull your speed to VA.
In theory, if the airspeed of an airplane is doubled while in level flight, parasite drag will become 4 times greater. Parasite drag is just, there's like an object on the plane, like a fairing, and that'll increase by 4 times.
Parasite
at double
drag,
speed.
There's 3 types, yeah. I won't have you define them, but do you want to list 3 types of parasite drag?
Sure, what are they?
You tell me. I know what they are.
Parasite drag. Like, give me an idea of the first one.
Form drag.
Form drag. Okay, the
There's-
shape of the plane.
There's skin friction.
Skin friction.
And then
Okay.
there's I think it's interference. It starts with an I.
I think it's just the way the wind goes over things. It like creates vortices and stuff.
Yeah, like the connection of parts like a strut. You're playing, but like any 172 that has struts,
Yeah.
you know, there's gonna be, you know, those eddy currents that are formed with the connection of the wing and the strut. There's gonna be like double the drag created because of those conflicting eddy currents together, way more than just the strut alone or the wing alone creating drag. The connection of those parts.
Yes.
And then skin friction, just at the microscopic level, the paint is not smooth.
That's right.
So there's gonna be drag no matter what. And then form drag is just landing gear, struts, anything that sticks out or whatever. It's just crazy.
So in theory, if the airspeed of an airplane is doubled while in level flight, parasite drag will become 4 times greater. Okay. So if the airspeed doubles, parasite drag is 4x. As airspeed decreases in level flight below the speed for maximum lift drag ratio, total drag of an airplane increases because of increased induced drag. As airspeed decreases in level flight below that speed for maximum lift drag ratio, total drag of an airplane increases because of increased induced drag. Yeah, because the airplane has a more of an angle of attack and it's kind of going through the air like this.
Yeah. So VA is important. VG or VLD is critical. What's VLD? Best lift to drag ratio.
Okay.
Lift to drag. It's the same thing as VG, best glide speed.
Oh, so that's like, yeah, it's like in
It's
my
just
airplane,
back
it's like
to when
100
you're in
100
training.
miles
If
an
I
hour.
just cut the engine on you to simulate an engine failure, what are you immediately going to do?
Go to best glide.
Trim for best
best glide.
VLD. That's going to give you the most longevity in the air.
Yeah.
Anything below that speed, you're going to start to just fall.
That's
Anything
right.
way faster, you're just going to the ground quicker.
Yeah.
So you want to trim for that VG. It's always important to know.
VG, okay. If the airspeed is increased from 90 knots to 135 during a level 60-degree bank turn, the load factor will go. So you're increasing from your speed 35.
Same thing from
40.
earlier.
Remain the same, but the radius of turn will increase. Okay. Yeah,
The
that's
factor
right.
stays the same. Radius of the turn just gets
Yeah.
a lot bigger.
Yeah. Baggage weighing 90 pounds is placed in a normal category airplane's baggage compartment, which is placarded at 100 pounds. It would just increase by 3.5 times 90, which is that, and it would not be excessive because that's just like you're in a. It's just a G's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For this stupid ass figure.
Yeah, this figure. Okay, so this figure. At the airspeed presented by point A, in steady flight, the airplane will have its maximum lift drag ratio. So total drag is the least here, and the lift is the maximum. So I guess when total drag is at the lowest, that means the lift is at the max. What's in this and this? The velocity is the same, I guess. Oh, this is just showing the drag
It's
coefficient.
just showing the relationship between
Okay.
parasite and induced drag.
Refer to figure 1. At an airspeed presented by point B, in steady flight, the pilot can expect to obtain the airplane's maximum glide range. Yeah, that's right. Same as point A. A and B would be the same velocity.
Yeah.
Okay. Which statement is true relative to changing angle of attack? An increase in angle of attack will increase drag. That's correct.
Yeah.
Because you're basically going through the air like this versus like this.
Yeah.
Which airspeed would a pilot be unable to identify by the color coding of an airspeed indicator? Maneuvering speed. Yeah, that's not on there. Which statement is true about the magnetic deviation of a compass? Deviation varies for different headings of the same aircraft. Yeah, because if you're going westerly or easterly, it's different. West is best, east is least. I think that's the saying.
That more refers to VFR, like navlog or magnetic variation and stuff.
So deviation varies for different headings in the same aircraft. Yeah, so that's why you have the little compass card. Is that what this is referring to?
No.
Refer to figure 2. Select the correct statement regarding stall speeds. Power on stalls occur at lower airspeeds and shallower banks. Power on stalls occur at lower airspeeds and shallower banks. So power on so a shallower bank is here. 67, yeah. 58 is lower than 76. 50 is less than 66. 71, 93. Yeah. These numbers are all lower than these. So power on stalls occur at lower airspeeds and shallower banks, yeah. Select the correct statement regarding stall speeds. The airplane will stall 10 knots higher in a power 10 knots higher in a power on 60-degree bank, okay, over here with gaps and flare-ups. Yes, 76 versus 66, so yeah, 10 knots higher. Which is true regarding the use of flaps during level turns? Raising of flaps increases the stall speed. Correct.
Why?
During a turn, so it's reducing the camber of the wing, it's reducing the lift. It's reducing lift.
Yeah.
Because it's reducing lift, it increases the stall speed.
Yeah. That's why, like, if you put flaps in on final, like 10, 20, or 30 degrees on final, but then you say,
you can get really slow with
them up. I want to put them up. No, you're going to lose a fuck ton of lift.
Yeah, you're going to lose a lot of lift.
You never raise flaps once you put them. Like, you can just
one notch at a time.
And
yeah.
Make sure you boost some power because you're going to lose lift.
Yeah, so if I'm doing a go-around, I usually lift the flaps on the ground before I do a takeoff again. If I do a touch and go, when I'm on the ground, when I finally do a touchdown on the ground and roll, lift the flaps, then full power.
Yeah, all of that. Because if you go full power with all the flaps in, which I've done once.
Yeah, I've done it many times.
I did a stop and go, went around, then put flaps up, and I took off. Boom, boom. You like start to lift up prematurely, but you don't have enough airspeed. And you just start bouncing. It gets freaky. But then when you're going to go miss too, and you haven't touched down, and then you have to put flaps up. Now you do it incrementally.
The main function of flaps during the approach and landing is to increase lift at approach airspeeds. Okay. Name the 4 fundamentals involved in the maneuvering of aircraft. Straight and level, turns, climbs, descents. Okay. To increase the rate of turn at the same time decreases the radius, a pilot should increase the bank and decrease airspeed. To increase the rate of turn and at the same time decrease the radius, a pilot should increase the bank and decrease airspeed.
Yep.
Increase the rate of turn. Decrease the radius. Increase the bank. And lower the speed. Yeah, so you can do a faster turn.
Even tighter.
Yeah, that makes sense. Which is correct with respect to rate and radius of turn for an airplane flown in a coordinated turn at a constant altitude. For a specific angle of bank and airspeed, the rate and radius of turn will not vary. That makes sense. If it's coordinated, yeah. Why is it necessary to increase back elevator pressure to maintain altitude during a turn to compensate for the loss of the vertical component of lift? That's right. To maintain an altitude during a turn, the angle of attack must be increased to compensate for the decrease in the vertical component of lift, yes. Stall speed is affected by weight, load factor, and power.
Other answers would include airspeed and some of those, but airspeed is not. I can't really tell you why airspeed doesn't affect stall. I don't really know why.
So you're going through the air.
Yeah.
Lower airspeed will definitely... So if you're going really fast through the air, you have a high stall speed. If you're going slow, You have a low stall speed, right? No, because when you're going fast, if you do a sharp turn, you can stall at a very high speed.
I guess so.
Because your angle of attack will be super sharp.
Yeah.
So then you'll stall.
Yeah.
But if you're going at a slow speed,
you barely turn it, you're gonna stall.
Yeah, exactly.
So
but the stall speed is super low when you're going really slow.
So how does airspeed not affect stalls?
It definitely affects it.
That's the thing. It doesn't though. Compare it in these answers. It's only affected by weight load factor and power. Well, is power not speed then?
It is possible to stall the wing at any airspeed, any flight altitude, or any power setting.
I guess that's the answer. It can. Well, that.
Yeah, it's fine. A rectangular wing, as compared to wings of other platforms, has a tendency to stall first at the wing root, with the stall progression towards the wing tip. That's true. You want it to stall at the tip at the end, so then you can still control with the ailerons. By changing the angle of attack of a wing, the pilot can control the airplane's lift, airspeed, and drag. If you change the angle of attack, the pilot can control the airplane's lift, airspeed, and drag, yeah. If you change the angle of attack more, you pull back, you're going to get more lift, you're going to climb, your airspeed is going to reduce, and your drag is going to increase.
What are the two principles of lift? Two theories of lift, my bad.
Two theories of lift?
Yeah. What is lift?
Lift is when you have a higher air pressure under the wing versus on the top of the wing, lower air pressure.
That's
so it's pushing it up.
That's one of the theories, pretty much. That's Bernoulli's principle.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like the main one.
Yeah,
This airfoil, you have airflow, it splits over.
You don't even need that split. You could just take a piece of paper and let's go like this.
You don't need that split.
You could go like this. Let's say I go like this, and I just put this on a stick. This is not airfoil, shaped like that.
Yeah.
And I can just go in a circle like this. It'll lift up.
Yeah.
Because the air over here is pushing here.
Yeah.
The pressure is higher on this side than on this side. That's why it's lifting up.
You're kind of blending the talk of Newton's third law and Bernoulli's. How do you explain straight and level flight? How do you explain lift at straight and level flight?
How do you explain it?
Yeah.
Because
when the wind
wind hits the air, yeah. the air hits the wing, yeah. And it has to separate. It basically splits the air in half.
Yeah.
But the air on top has to spread out and go over the wing to get to the end.
Yeah.
And the wind on the bottom stays tighter and goes across.
Yeah.
So the pressure is higher on the bottom than on the top of the wing, so then you get lift.
Yeah.
If it's straight and level.
So as the velocity over a surface increases, there's a decrease in pressure.
That's right.
So the air going over this longer part has to go
stretching.
faster.
It's basically stretching the air out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then there's less molecules there that exist. So there's just less pressure.
Yeah. It has to go faster on top.
All right, next one. The angle of attack of a wing directly controls the distribution of pressures acting on the wing. The angle of attack of a wing directly controls the distribution of pressures acting on the wing. Okay. In theory, if the angle of attack and other factors remain constant, and the airspeed is doubled, the lift produced at the higher speed will be 4 times greater than at a lower speed. Okay, so if you double your airspeed, you double your lift. Or if you double your airspeed, you 4x your lift. Cool. And you also 4x the drag. If you double the airspeed, you 4x the drag.
4x the parasitic drag.
4x the parasitic drag. An aircraft wing is designed to reduce lift resulting from a difference in the higher air pressure below the wing surface and the lower air pressure above the wing surface. Yeah, we know that. On a wing, the force of lift acts perpendicular to, and the force of drag acts parallel to, the flight path. Which statement is true regarding the opposing forces acting on an airplane in a steady and level flight? These forces are equal. The angle of attack at which the wing stalls remains constant regardless of weight, dynamic pressure, bank angle, or pitch attitude. Yeah. Angle of attack is always the same on a wing. It's just based on how it was designed, right? In small airplanes, normal recovery from spins may become difficult if the center of gravity is too far back and rotation is around the center of gravity.
That says recovery from stalls is difficult.
The normal recovery from spins may become difficult if the CG is too far rearward and the rotation is around the CG.
Why? What's the recovery? What's the recovery for spins?
Nose forward, ailerons neutral, power idle, opposite rudder.
There you go. Yep. And then just differentiating forward CG and aft CG, pros and cons of a forward versus aft CG.
I mean, aft CG means you can get faster cruise speed.
More stable.
A more forward CG, you can recover from a spin better.
Yeah, so what's the negative of an aft CG?
The negative is that the airplane is not gonna want to nose down. You can get the airspeed.
Yeah.
In a stall, you might go backwards, and you might not be able to recover from a stall.
Yeah.
You can die.
Not only is it easier to stall with an aft CG,
definitely easier to stall with aft CG.
It's really a lot harder to recover.
Or impossible to recover.
Yeah, right. From a spin, especially a flat spin. I mean, goddamn, trying to get that nose over, but it won't. That's a fucking.
Then you're dead. Yeah.
And then forward CG, and negative of a forward CG is that you're having to have all that back pressure in to fight back, right? Which makes the elevator rise because of all that back pressure, creates a lot of drag just to keep the plane up and straight and level.
That's right.
So, but a positive is that
I notice a lot when I'm in cruise with my plane. If I put the seats back, and I shift my weight back, I can actually trim forward a lot.
Yeah.
And I get more speed.
Yeah. And then naturally, just the CG's more forward. You're a lot more down trim, creating more drag with that elevator going up.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You have to put the elevator up. In small airplanes, normal recovery from spins may become difficult as a CG. Yeah, okay, got that. Recovery from a stall in any airplane becomes more difficult when a center of gravity moves back. If an airplane is loaded to the rear of a CG, it will tend to be unstable about its lateral axis. Lateral is like wingtip to wingtip, that axis. Yeah. At higher elevation airports, the pilot should know that indicated airspeed will be unchanged, but ground speed will be faster.
I can't lie, true airspeed, all that kind of confuses me sometimes.
Yeah, I gotta study that.
Yeah.
So if you're at a higher elevation airport, your indicator speed won't change, but the ground speed will be faster. Probably because you're going through the air faster. You're going over more ground. Because the air is thinner, you have to go over more ground to have the same number of molecules of air going into your pitot tube.
Yeah, so if indicator remains the same, the ground speed has to be faster. But if you intend to go the same ground speed, well, the indicated has to decrease as you go up in altitude.
Yeah.
So,
if you increase airspeed in a turn, what must you do to maintain altitude? Increase angle of bank. You increase airspeed in a turn. What must you do to maintain altitude? Increase angle of bank. Yeah. If you don't increase your angle of bank, are you going to sink? You increase airspeed in a turn. What must you do to maintain altitude?
So think of it, if you're flying straight and level and you just increase airspeed, are you going to lose altitude or gain altitude?
Gain.
You're going to gain because more lift is produced. So to maintain the same altitude while you're in a given bank, if you increase airspeed, you have to tighten that bank just to maintain it, because if you stay at the same bank but you increase airspeed,
you'll climb.
You might start to climb.
Yeah.
But what reduces a climb is just more increase
more
in
bank. That's right. Okay, that makes sense. The stalling speed of an airplane is most affected by variations in airplane loading.
It's never airspeed. That's what I get confused about.
The stalling speed of an airplane is most affected by variations in airplane loading. Yeah, I guess where you load the plane, like the weight that you put in the plane.
Yeah, that, and then just you load the aircraft more when you bank more.
Yeah, if you do a hard bank, you're gonna put a. Yeah, if you're flying and you do a sharp turn, you're like, oh, turn.
Yeah.
You're gonna your airplane is gonna be going through the air like this, so the angle of attack increases on the wing very quickly.
Yeah.
So you can stall.
Yeah.
Yeah. An airplane will stall at the same angle of attack, regardless of the attitude with relation to the horizon, of course. What performance is characteristic of flight at maximum lift-drag ratio in propeller-driven airplane? What performance is characteristic of flight at maximum lift-drag ratio in a propeller-driven airplane? Maximum range and maximum distance glide. Yeah. So if you're at the max lift-drag ratio, you're at max glide, VG.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. Which is true regarding the forces acting on aircraft in steady state descent?
Everything's equal.
The sum of all forces is equal to the sum of all rearward forces. Yeah. Which is true regarding the force of lift in steady unaccelerated flight? Answer: there is a corresponding indicated airspeed required for every angle of attack to generate sufficient lift to maintain altitude.
That pretty much says as speed affects stalling.
Yeah. During the transition from straight level flight to a climb, the angle of attack is increased and lift is momentarily increased. Correct. To generate the same amount of lift as altitude is increased, an airplane must be flown at a higher true airspeed for any given angle of attack. Yeah. How much lift is changed by ground effect? It increases it. A lower angle of attack will be required to maintain the same amount of lift when entering ground effect. Yeah. I'm ready to take a break. Let's stop this.